Sometimes you gotta watch out for your friend. They try to poison you.
I know, bro. It be your own friends.
Judas.
Also, Zephyr Hills people, if y'all ever catch wind of this, you can still sponsor us.
You can still sponsor us.
I will change my tune real quick with some money.
Watch this, right? Watch this. Yum.
Delicious.
Zephyr Hills gold. Yeah.
What was that?
It's the Zephyr, bro. I don't know.
That's here.
What it tastes like over there?
It tastes like 30 minutes from my house.
Tastes like
That
30
boy
minutes
turned
from
into-
my house.
What was that? Russian?
Must be. I don't know.
German?
Oh,
It was
God.
definitely racist.
It was
Real nigga coming out of so slow. And the flow wavy got a bolo. Oh no, looking like you running out of stamina. Call yourself an animal cause you know.
All right, listen, so this question on the podcast. I need to ask the guys here.
Okay.
Ladies, don't be offended, but we're just going to ask a question.
Oh boy.
I'm interested already.
All right,
Hold on.
listen.
What are we doing here?
No women for a day. What's everybody doing?
No women for a day?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be miserable.
Really? I'm sorry. Women.
Please. No women for
Like
a
there's
day.
none
24?
like at all, or I just don't interact with them at all.
They
They don't,
don't
exist.
they
exist.
get temporarily raptured into the air.
They do exist. That's my quote. Sorry.
What am I doing? Different?
What
I
would
don't
you
know.
do? Just for the day. Like
Yeah,
they're
just-
just gone for a day.
Just going outside, I guess. I'm playing ball.
Oh,
Nothing's
He
really
said
changing.
nothing would change.
Nothing's changing.
Let's see. I mean, it's less food I have to cook.
Now you be cooking,
Yeah, I be
You don't?
cooking. I be
You
chefing
don't?
it up.
bro. She recently, bro. Like maybe the past 4 months, 5 months, just started cooking on a regular,
Oh, really?
and I'm living like my best life.
Love that for you.
She be packing it sometimes too.
What?
Sometimes she'll even come and deliver it, bro, to the
Oh,
studio.
wow.
That's crazy.
I
Bruh.
do need
She's
to, man.
she's still Jamaican? Did she trade her ethnicity for something?
I don't.
She traded.
I don't know what happened, bro.
Is she still Jamaican?
She is still Jamaican.
Is she trans ethnic at this point? Like,
I don't know.
I'm sorry. Not that they get Jamaican.
Hey yo,
I ain't gonna lie.
Bro.
That's a new one.
That's
yo,
funny.
like I don't know, like our relationship, like to be honest, just go ahead. So no girls for 24 hours. I just be playing video. No, I'd be watching
I
anime.
play games, play video games.
Yeah.
Whatever I can do that they won't interrupt me, and I do
Anime,
it.
I'm
bro.
going to the gym.
He said that won't end up on TikTok.
I'm going to the beach.
Niggas going all the places.
man, all the
places that you never go. Avert eyes.
He said, "Huh."
Going to-
I can finally look at the sunset. I can see the beach.
The seagulls.
Wow. I never knew there was more than sand. This is amazing. The water look refreshing. I might even take a dip. Because guess what? No mixed bathing.
I can't.
This nigga
No
said he going
mixed
to the
bathing is
pool.
crazy.
He going to the movies.
That's funny.
No, legit, I'm probably just playing. That was a joke.
I
I'm
would-
probably playing video games all
I'm
day.
probably just gonna
I'd
whatever.
probably just chill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I would just vibe. Like nothing. I would be at more
I w-
peace.
I would go be at more peace.
Yeah, I'm already, but it's just certain people won't be there to annoy me.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Like,
We're gonna
okay.
right past that. I'd probably go like try a restaurant that like I normally wouldn't go to, or go eat at like a restaurant that I normally wouldn't go to. My wife kind of picky, so like there's only if they don't serve like a certain type of food, then it's just like, all right, we don't even really go. So like where I would be like craving like I really want like Indian food or something like that. Like some tikka masala would be fire right now, but can't do that. So
Tikka masala is fire.
y'all don't like what's the problem? What is so funny?
Well, y'all.
We locked in, nigga. We locked in. I want you to know a single word was said, but we here, nigga. We here, nigga. We gotta leave it where it's at, bro.
What is so funny?
you gonna say it?
No, I'm good.
No, you say it. Because the audience good.
The audience don't know what the hell's going on.
I
The
don't
people
know.
here don't know what the
Matt,
heck is
neither
going
one
on.
of us know what's
It's not
going
the
on.
word itself. It's just how you said it the first time. That really just
like,
caught my attention.
Well, the way you said it, and then the T didn't sound quite.
It didn't sound like a T at all.
What did it
sound like a D? I was like, that nigga trying to get some what? I said, woman, I heard 24 hours.
I heard
no women, you know what I want?
No women and try stuff I don't normally try. And then I heard dick in my side. What? I took one glance at Malik and I knew that he heard it too. And I said, thank God. I said,
I was like, sir, I said a day.
One day, 24 hours.
That nigga said,
That bad?
Sir.
He said, I've always wanted to try.
You ever been to that Bussy restaurant?
I hate it here.
Oh my God. Listen, it's okay. It's right.
Hey.
Listen, if you like it, that's on you. It's 2024. You can have all the dick and masala you want. But anyway, welcome to the Holy Hood Podcast. Yeah. My name is Malik. We're out here again. This is
Dick in my side.
Damn this podcast.
Your name is
Tariq.
Cole.
Okay, there we go. Cole's back this week. We're excited to have an episode with you guys. He's clearly upset. We didn't do anything.
Dumb. I just said I wanted food.
Whatever
Some
you
people
call
call it
it,
eggplant.
and whatever you call it, bro, get all your vitamins and nutrients.
You niggas are weird. You niggas are weirdos, bro.
Wow. Anyway, welcome to the podcast episode. You know, put in the comments, what would you do if the opposite sex didn't exist on the planet for 24 hours? Women, I think your list is a lot more long and a lot more relevant. You know, like survive, not get kidnapped,
Go outside,
not die,
walk
go outside,
at night,
not have to choose a bear. All the things.
We was here.
All
I was gonna
the
say the
things.
same
Like,
thing.
So, by all means,
Not have to
we
choose a
completely understand your list is far more valid than ours. We said video game. You guys said live. You win.
They would really go to the gym.
Right? They would really go to the gym and be
they
able
do.
to make it home. Insane out here.
Madness.
Matt, just get a gun, sis. It's okay. Just get the gun. Just get
Start shooting these niggas.
Right? It's like, it's okay. If they're not going to act right here, send them somewhere else.
Never hear a miss again.
Hey, miss.
Excuse me.
Hey, miss.
I'm sorry, my bad.
I saw a video of this one chick. She was like, how to get dudes to stop walking up to you or something like that. And she was recording herself and some dude walked up. Hello, Empress Browning. She turned to him, stop drooling on me. And he's just like, I'm sorry.
What? Oh, man, we are here. What are we talking about this episode? Okay.
Faith in the modern
Let's
world.
talk about faith in the modern world. Like, if you haven't noticed, navigating faith has become, at least as far as our timeline has been, very interesting in the century we live in.
Yeah.
Right? Like, growing up, everybody and their mama went to church. Now it's kind of weird if you go to church. And it's even more weird if you go to church and have certain collections of values. And so, like that takes a lot to navigate.
Right.
When the things that are now normative to you are no longer normative to society around you.
Yeah.
It's like growing up, I remember going to church, and when I got in class, everybody had went to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
Everybody saw somebody fall out on Sunday. Like that was just like the classroom I was in. And now you talk about like somebody falling out of church, you're like, what do you mean they fell? Did they trip?
Are they hurt?
Did somebody push them? Honestly, yeah, maybe. But yeah.
Boy, I was thinking the same
Right?
person.
But like, well, I guess we'll ask around like, how has navigating your faith adapted or evolved? The one is you've aged, but two has like the world have changed a little bit. We did go through a whole global pandemonium
Yeah.
and a couple and some crazy election cycles.
Yeah.
And then we saw like all sorts of stuff. So how has faith adapted? How have things changed for the better or the worse over the past few years for you, both personally, but also like when you look at how your faith, maybe interpersonal, but like how your faith is like viewed in the world around you?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Especially in a post-COVID society, I think faith, at least for me, looks a lot different, right? So, I'm a little bit more particular where I spend my time. I think, like, I'll say pre-COVID, like I was just all over the place. I was just like, oh yeah, I can go here, I can go there, whatever. I think when you go through something like that, it's like, oh, I actually don't have as much time as I thought that I did, and time is more precious than what we treat it. You get what I'm saying? Like, once, it's probably the only thing that once you spend, you can't get it back, right? So I'm a little bit more like particular how I spend my time, but also like I think, at least in the modern world, like with the advancement of technology, social media, I think we have to have like boundaries, right? So if you want to make it to heaven and you want to like be holy and pure and things of that nature, there's certain things that like you just can't participate in, right? And I'm not speaking against like social media or certain TV shows. Like, for me personally, I can't watch I've never seen a full episode of Game of Thrones, right? The reason why is because that first episode, they threw that little boy out the window. They threw that little boy out the window.
Because he caught them fornicating?
They caught them. He was doing more than fornicating.
I don't even remember what they were doing.
It was,
but I know they threw the boy out the window, that little baby out the window, and I said, all right, I can't watch this. Or
you like, said it was brother and sister?
I believe so.
That is prime cocky activity.
That's how they was getting down back then. But also like, but not even that. Like, I remember, what was the other show? Empire. Like the little kid like dressed up and he had on like high heels and he threw the baby in the garbage. I said, all right, I can't watch this. Like, certain things I just can't watch. So it's just like I can't do certain things. Just because I know how it affects me mentally and how it would like change how I walk through the day to day as a Christian. Yeah.
Makes sense. Grantley, you seem like to be hit by that question.
The government?
The whole government, man.
That's crazy. Producer Matt.
They gonna start Googling.
They're not gonna find that then?
Nah, they'll find that. You
can't spell it.
Randerson.
I think
we'll edit that out.
When I hear that, when I hear the question, I don't know if I've personally changed much of how I navigate my belief because of society. I think I've probably changed more because of like spiritual experience. So if you're like, hey, how have you navigated now in 24 versus like how you've navigated previously? Like, I think that my view of like who God is different or has changed drastically in the past like maybe 4 to 5 years than it was like back when I was younger and youth leading and doing a whole bunch of stuff. I think that the version of God that like I see that I thought he was before was like, I don't know, bro. Like, probably just like the typical cookie cutter, like American, like, hey, like this is the version of who I expect God to be. Like, if I'm good enough, then like he'll like do these things for me. If I'm not being good, then he's gonna chastise me. If I'm walking it out properly, then like bad things won't happen to me. And the version of God that I have now is definitely more secure, more sound. Because when bad things happened the first time, like my relationship with him crumbled. Bad things happening now, it's like, oh, like, but you're still here with me. And that came with experience, like an actual, when I say experience, not like me leveling up and getting XP points, like experience as in like, hey, I had, like I had like a specific like encounter with him that was experiential. And I was like, oh, like this is who you really are. Like, this is what you really look like. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if I chop it up to like, you know, like culturally, I think that my view of him has shifted because of what I've been through more than it being shifted because of like just how like the world has changed.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think for me, like, it's just like this, a globalization of the world has changed a lot of things. Yeah. Like, things could have always been this way, but because we can now literally see just about everybody and hear just about every point of view, and everyone has equal access to get their like thoughts out there for people, I'm like, man, like some of this stuff is just like, oh, yeah, I was really out here doing this.
Yeah.
And
What
so
do
it's
you
like,
mean? Like, I'm a bit confused.
so some stuff like people like don't wash their legs when they shower.
Oh, okay.
And-
Gotcha.
People
People
use
don't-
their hands.
People don't use like rags
They
or
use bar
loofahs
soap.
or they
They
rub
use
the
the
bar
bar
on them,
on their
body.
On them body.
Right? Like
So
I was that and I think our generation has done a great job of being very free and just doing whatever their brain tells them to do.
Just bring back shame.
Well, not
Bring
I
back
saw a
shame.
video of a lady. She
No.
she had a cheesecake, and she like the whole cheesecake, like the whole round.
This is an intrusive thought ass generation.
and
bro.
like
Bruh,
she's in her car, or she's
bring
not
back
home,
bring back shame.
And she just
Shame.
bites the cheesecake, and my brain goes, I never thought that was an option. I never just looked at it.
ever considered
Like I've bought a whole cheesecake myself, and I've gone home and I've cut
sliced
slices.
it like a normal.
she said, I bought this for me.
and
So
so
what shit is with?
and so it's just like it's interesting to me that because we're the new adults, and it's
Crazy.
interesting
Yeah.
to see because a part of adulthood is spirituality and faith. It's interesting to see how our adulthood has shaped that, right? And from the outside looking in, like stuff just like we can call it naturalism, we can call it other form of spirituality, but like crystals and like growing up, everyone laughed at horoscopes. I remember being in school and being taught that horoscopes were just made up. That like your sign had no bearing on anything. In science
just
classes,
like this little fun
yeah,
thing.
it was
that
just
we
like
did.
this fun thing that we did, and people take it. And it's like, how do we get to the place where we're taking it seriously again?
I don't know.
And so it's just interesting to me to navigate.
You're rising. You're setting.
You're rising, you're setting, you're going, you're coming, you're up and you're down, and I don't have
It's yes
time.
and it's no.
Right, like
In, you're out.
Right? No, you're just a bastard, and that's why you are the way that you are.
Nah, you're wrong and it's right.
I'm sorry.
You're not a Virgo, you're a bastard.
And I'm like, no, like I'm not this way because I'm a Leo. I'm this way because I'm fierce and I have a problem.
Because I'm a leak.
Right? Because
That's fair.
I'm the problem.
Is that what your sign is? What do they say your sign is?
Leo? I don't know what it means. I don't know when I rise or I set. But
I know what I rise.
Okay.
okay.
Yikes. All right.
So like how has navigating been for you? Because I feel like you have like more like on the ground experience with people of other like thought processes than I do, just by nature of proximity. So
There's a lot of big words there, brother. Basically,
Basically, you hang out with the nigga.
yeah. No, I got what he was saying. I'm pretty good with the context clues. But, I mean, for me, I want to say it's helped me to be more, I guess, open and honest about my own situation, like my own relationship and like my faith.
That's good.
Not in terms of just like how I'm doing. Well, actually, no, mainly in that kind of term, like just in alignment with the word and faith and with God. Just I feel like it's a lot easier for me to just be more open about like if someone was to ask me, "Oh, how you rocking with God?" I could honestly be like, I'm not rocking with that nigga right now. Like, and it's not that much of a problem because I know like it's not like back then I used to think that was the most terrible thing you could do. So like I used to struggle with if I really was in a place where I'm not rocking with him, I would put on a facade because I don't want people to feel like they have it. And I also didn't like people coming to me and like trying to, oh, how is this? And it just wasn't in my, like, so it was weird to me. So that point, it kind of just helped, I guess, me understand it's okay to go through those situations, those seasons.
Yeah.
And it's kind of more beneficial because it seems less fake in a sense. So like I remember when I was legit, like I would always be told like, oh, it's not a feeling thing. It's just something you have to push past and da-da-da. But there's times where like I don't want to. And if I start engaging in like worshiping or what, I feel fake doing it. So it was like those kind of situations used to like mess me up a lot. But it feels a lot freer just to be like open about the situation.
And I think that's biblical too, bro. Like I'm not gonna hold you. Like if we look at like some of the writings, like there's times when people that are like men after God's own heart, or like even Elijah, like had like moments where they was just not rocking with homie.
That's why I rock with David so much, bro.
Same.
That nigga was messed up.
Like
Messed up.
Everybody.
Hell yeah.
What Homer Simpson said about the Bible, they're all messed up except for this one guy.
yeah.
Homer
Which is
Simpson.
crazy that Homer has a better revelation about the Bible than
And you know
than
Simpsons
some
are never
people.
wrong.
Is that their prediction
Their
on the
track
Simpsons?
record's been pretty
Well,
solid.
they're wrong one time.
I don't have like a book of Simpsons predictions.
No, it was just the most recent one.
Which one was that one?
The Trump assassination.
Oh.
Oh,
Did they do that?
Yeah. There was a whole
Yikes.
episode about it. Like he died and everything.
Oh no.
And then he got shot?
I don't know I don't know the time span between the episodes.
Oh, okay.
I know the episode came out first.
That's
Oh.
crazy.
I don't know. Oh boy. Yeah, I think like navigating faith to me in this age is so interesting. I remember talking to someone and I was like, growing up there was like incentive to be, especially in American culture, there was incentive to being just a casual cultural Christian.
Meaning.
Like it was beneficial in a lot of like everybody went to church. Everybody
Okay,
was a
yeah.
Christian. Like you fit in
I
a
kinda
lot of
feel like-
ways, but now I think it's the opposite. Now like, which to me is a
Christian.
beautiful thing, because now like it takes courage and faith to even like say, "Oh no, I'm a Christian."
Mhm.
And so for me, I love it because I think it has weeded out and
Yeah.
hopefully does a better job of weeding out a lot of like the fake
Mhm.
stuff. Like you don't gotta be with us no more. If you don't want to rock with us, you can
your
go. You can do
Yeah,
your thing,
yeah,
and nobody's
yeah.
gonna judge you no more.
Just know we still gonna be here.
Right?
Yeah.
I still find it like it still shocks me sometimes. Where like I'll say like, "Oh yeah, I'm a Christian," and people be like, "Really?" I'm like, you get what I'm saying? Like because I still in my head, like you said, I'm still like sometimes I still find myself thinking that, "Oh yeah, this is what everybody is," because everybody has this thought process, right? Because that's what I grew up around. That's what my immediate circle is. I mean, as much as I've studied other religions and done all these different things, it's still like people are just like, or like when people are shocked that like, I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, I went to church." Like I go to work and people are like, "Oh, how's your weekend?" It's like, "Oh, I went to church on Sunday, was sang, blah blah blah, whatever." And they're like, "Oh, you go to church?"
Mhm.
You like I didn't think people still did that. And it was like, no, yeah, I
People
still go to church. Like that's a thing. So it's just I still find myself like being shocked that people
Mhm.
don't really like do that anymore. You know?
It doesn't really shock me, to be honest.
Well,
Because you got to think like back then, like especially back in the day, church was very rule based.
Yeah.
So people who like one either didn't go into the church or wasn't as like locked in with like the relationship or like the religion aspect saw it as just a place where people adhere to rules, and most of the rules don't make sense. So it's like when they're subscribing to a church where it's like they're just pushing out all these rules instead of like just giving you what you need. That's correlated to I don't need to go there if I because I remember there was a time my mom used to like get on me all the time because I would never like evangelize to my friends, and I was just like, there's no point. Like if I really want if my friends are gonna get to church, it's not because I'm telling them to start the church, because then at that age all church is a place where you go worship God that has rules. And like I remember I brought one of my friends there and like my mom's telling him all this stuff and he's like, damn, I can't go to the movies, I can't da 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 da. What am I coming here for?
Yeah.
And like that's really where that thought process came from, because I was like, yeah, that does make sense. Like there's no valid reason for me to say like, oh, why we're not doing these things other than it's just the rule of church. So it's like if they don't want to subscribe to that, like it makes sense why, especially if that's all they know it to be. When they get older, it's instilled in them now.
Just, yeah.
So it's like unless they saw something that like breaks that ideology, then there's no changing that, and it's just gonna be a continuous cycle.
Dude, I think that even like speaks to like the importance of like following like what God says versus like us putting up our own like, you know, additional layers of like Christianity or belief or rules on top of like what the heart of who God is.
Yeah.
Cause imagine that, bro, like, cause not every single church is set up in that fashion.
The majority is.
Right. But then like those lives, those
from with what my experience, I should say.
Okay, yeah.
those lives.
I said I'd counter that, but
yeah, but those lives end up like if that was his first experience with church, like I mean, he might just hold that for the rest of his life. Even just the way that you've navigated, it's like, bro, I'm not going to invite anybody to this because, like, imagine that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very interesting how, like, God's just like, hey, like, you don't have to, like, add anything additional to this. Like, don't, like, no jot, no tittle, whatever the case may be. But the detriment of it, where even we think that what we're doing is the right thing sometimes.
Right.
And it's like, hey, bro, like, nah, like, this ain't it, fam. Like, and the effects of that just across the board.
Yeah, and then when we do add to it, we mess it up.
Yeah.
Right. So like I think the gospel in and of itself by itself stands on its own. It's sufficient, right? It what is it Peter that wrote you he has given you everything you need for life and godliness. Everything that you need is not exhaustive, but it's sufficient, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to tell you like, oh, should you wear a blue tie or a red tie, right? Like it's not exhaustive, but it is everything you need for life and godliness.
Yeah.
And I think when we start to add in, hey, you can't go to the movies, or hey, you can't do certain things, or hey, women can't wear skirts, they can't wear makeup, men, you can't, have locks or whatever, or facial hair. When you start adding certain things, then now what you're creating isn't a unity in God, but you're creating a false uniformity.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, hey, you think that this is what a Christian is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
You think that this is what a Christian is supposed to be. You're not supposed. But when really and truly, one of the deepest relationships I have is somebody that I met in Ohio. The girl has her ears pierced. She got she's a white girl. One half of her hair is blue, the other half is pink. She got tattoos, ring on every finger, like her nose is pierced. But that is a prayer warrior.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm talking about that girl prays.
Yeah.
Prays, seeks after God. So when I start to see certain things like that, I'm just like, okay, so maybe the way that I thought and the way that I brought up is incorrect, right?
Yeah.
And then you go to a church and you see other people with tattoos, other people with piercings and their hair dyed or whatever, and they're crying after this savior, and it's like, and that
It's genuine. Yeah.
that is genuine because you've seen it tested, right?
Yep.
I've seen people come up to you and call you out your name, and you go,
Bless your soul.
right, because I could really go crazy, and then you know what I'm saying. So I've seen certain things where it's like, oh, so faith in the modern world doesn't look like what we said it does.
Yeah.
It looks like what the word established it to be, which is sufficient in and of itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think part of what I was saying to I question how much of our view of broader Christianity being rules based and all these sorts of things is because of some shared background traits.
Sure. Yeah.
And I mean, if we look at the larger evangelical world, and we'll just speak for the country we live in the United States, we're from a very we grew up in a very small, what I would consider a sect of a denomination, like a sect of a branch of a branch of a branch of a branch that did certain things a certain way. So you might
say cult.
Well, we're not doing that today. Not doing that today. But and so we would have to have I think there is some nuance there about some people saw church as rule based, other people just saw it as irrelevant. Other people saw it growing up, if you didn't grow up in a similar sect as ours, they saw it as co-opted by America. They saw Christianity being the white man's religion.
Yeah,
They saw it being this
Stop
force
saying that, by the
of
way.
oppression.
Stop saying that. It's not true. We can have a discussion about it, but stop saying
Just
that.
DM Tariq. Clearly he wants to
Bro,
talk about it.
You got a soapbox waiting for you.
I got big ass soapbox.
Right? Right? We're he clearly wants to stand on business about that.
Stop saying that shit. You sound dumb. You sound dumb. But
Stop.
good
Get
to you,
some
bro. Get some help. Get some help.
Just read wider and broader. But wait, I think we have but I think one of the things that is interesting about faith, and maybe it's a question, is how do we, in a world that, in my opinion, is becoming more hostile to Christianity, how do we navigate that? Because I think, and I would say in a church world where the secular world has become more hostile to Christianity, I would say the religious world is becoming more hostile to biblical Christianity as well. A Christianity that isn't about fluff, isn't about numbers, isn't about rules based, because sure, on one hand, there's the world that's looking at authentic faith and saying, we don't like that, and there's a Christian world that's looking at authentic faith and going, oh, you're not going to heaven because you're not like us. And so I think part of navigating modern Christianity is trying to figure out how does one navigate that stay authentic to Jesus, right? But also be bold, because I think the temptation is to like fall back. When you are around people who are like clearly engaging in things that, like, you're talking to a friend and like they're explaining what their spiritual practices are, and they sound a lot like witchcraft, but they're a friend. Like, I think a lot of modern Christians would go, "Oh, I'm just going to pray for them," and you can also say, "Hey, why are you doing that?" But how do we navigate? Because I think, if I'm honest, one of my concerns is like the clear and obvious bend this current modern age has towards alternative forms of getting what they want from God. And by that is clearly like just divination and witchcraft. But by that, I mean like, because if you want like a good definition for witchcraft or like divination or other thing, was like trying to like control supernatural powers by modern means, by natural means. And so it's like, hey, I want the universe, this supernatural entity that you see it as, to do this thing. And I know if I collect these sorts of things, then it will manipulate the universe to do what I want it to do for me, which the textbook definition of witchcraft. And so, so that's a lot to navigate all of that. Or do we just not navigate it and be like, hey, we're out of here anyway? Like, there are options.
I feel you. I think and I mentioned this in the previous episode. Preston Perry's book, How to Tell the Truth, How God Saved Me, I think it's how God saved me to win souls, win hearts, not just arguments. And he talks a little bit about like being bold to share your faith. Like, you don't have to be an evangelist to share your faith, right? I think a lot of times having faith in the modern world means just being bold and standing up for what you believe in, or just not being afraid to say like, hey, I'm not going to do this thing because I believe in this. And then I think people will respect you more, right?
They will.
And that way they go, oh, okay. So now they're put on notice that, okay, well, this person lives their life in a certain way, right? Like, for example, my mechanic is Muslim, right? If I come to his shop between the hours of 12 and 2, it's closed. He's praying. He's not doing anything, right? So like, it don't matter if I call him, it don't matter if I go to drop off the car, pick up the car, I can't get access to him. Why? Because he's praying within these certain hours. That I think that's it. So guess what? I now have to adjust my day to I guess to compensate for that, right? So I think a lot of times it's us who are saying like, oh no, you don't have, it's okay. But sometimes, hey, like, just stand up for standing up for what you believe in and saying like, hey, I'm not gonna do X thing, or I'm not gonna watch Game of Thrones. When I say that to people, like, I'm like, bro, I can't watch a Game of Thrones. They're like, what? That's a great show. It's like, okay, I understand, but that's just something I can't watch, right? So that was once I say that and I give my reasoning for not watching it, then they're like, oh, okay, so certain things you just can't watch. It's like, yeah, I just can't. That's just me. So I think the problem comes in is when we start making it a rule. Yeah. Like, oh, yeah, well, you can't watch TV. Well, okay. What did Barney do to anybody?
Right. Yeah. I think where that came from, isn't there like a, I don't remember where I heard this. I don't want to say it's a scripture, but it's something about saying like trying to avoid doing something in case like your brother falls or like, so what is it?
Stumbling.
Scripture.
So I think that's like where
not setting up a stumbling block for your brother.
If the chance that it could, rather just not do it, where I feel like that's where those rules would come from. But at the same time, like, I still feel like it falls on that person to really know, like, hey, this is something I can't deal with. So it's like,
correct.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Well, I think so. The stumbling block scripture. I think there's certain things that you like. When I believe it was Paul that said it. I'm not sure if it was either Paul or Peter, one of the two. But like, hey, like, there are certain things that I will, even though it's permissible, will not like do in front of specific people, because I know that they have like this will become like a conversation that then like will turn into something that is like a stumbling block for their faith, where it's
Which
like,
could be
hey,
harmful.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, cool. Like, like, and this is a very like base example, and people use it all the time. But like somebody like going home, like we be talking about bourbon, bro. Like I love me bourbon too. Like there's certain people I wouldn't be like, hey, let's like crack open a beer with, because I know that this is probably something that like will be a stumbling block for you, even as like, be it like a believer, or even if I believe that it's permissible. Like I don't argue the whole like, oh, like the grapes weren't fermented when Jesus turned it into wine. I was like, bro, like that was the only type of like wine that they had, was just strong drink. Like
They just serving grape juice.
yeah,
The best
the
grape
Welch's.
juice.
The
Yeah,
best
right?
Welch's.
Like he saw grape juice and somebody goes, man, you saved the good stuff for the end. Ooh,
Yo,
I taste
so
the grape.
So, but in that same respect, like I'm not gonna go to somebody that I know has that issue, and might be even struggling with that as like a believer, like a non like mature believer, and not that, and that's not a bad thing. Like it's just not like, you know what I'm saying. And be like, hey, bro, like it's fine, bro. I'm gonna argue with you as to why you should be able to drink this, or I'm going to argue with you as to why like this food item is like permissible or not permissible, or I'm going to argue with you onto like all these little small like detaily like things that is like God doesn't like. God's like, yo, I care more about the heart than like the person. So it's like, yo, yeah, like if I'm not gonna sit down and have like a whole like debate over like skirts and non-skirts, with somebody that is like, hey, I need like skirts to like, because there's also that too, right? Like some there are like specific Christians within the sect that like be like, yo, like these rules helped me, like these rules kind of like gave me like a guideline to be able to like come out of like where I was at before, because I was like,
I would love to meet them,
dude. I know
I would love to meet them.
That'd be
because
like,
I've never I think that side is rare in my experience.
yeah
Because I've always heard people say like, bro, like this I felt like I could never get it right because of all these rules.
Yeah.
So for somebody that probably came, they probably weren't raised Christian. I'm assuming
Yes.
they weren't raised Christians.
Yes.
Then they came and then they started doing all of these rules, and then that helped them.
gave them like peace of mind, almost like a
Okay,
a
I actually
guideline.
am a different person.
You're right.
Like, it kind of helps them see the difference, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not even
Yeah,
just
I
see
get
it.
that. I get that.
Well, some of them, and like lifestyle, and it being a permissible lifestyle, like for their household, right?
Yeah.
Like moms is out here like going crazy, like pops is out here like going crazy, like they want you to go crazy, like they're in like weird like stuff, where it's not like us, where like our Jamaican parents will beat us for like the smallest thing, like for coming home 5 minutes late. True story. Yo, that pot dog. But like it's like, oh no, I understand that these, like when you stepped into this and it was like, hey, oh, you were wearing hoochie cutters back in like whatever, and now it's like, yo, like me putting on a skirt or a dress thing as a believer is like something that has kept me in like a space that gives me like peace of mind or clarity of mind. Like then I'm not gonna be like, yo, why are you wearing skirts all the time? Like, yo, you should put on pants, or like, why don't you believe in da-da-da, you know what I'm saying? But we could still have the, like, if somebody's coming to me and be like, hey, you shouldn't be wearing pants, like I can still have that conversation, like, yo, it goes both ways.
But I agree. I agree wholeheartedly, and I think that's where I was saying, like, or just to bring it full circle, there's a unity in the body.
Yeah.
There's not uniformity.
Yeah.
We all aren't supposed to look the same.
Yeah.
I think it was Paul that wrote, and he said like, hey, can the hand say to the foot that I'm not important because I'm not the foot? Can the foot do what the eye does? Can the eye does what the hands do? So you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Every part of the body of this Christian community, everybody functions differently. Everybody has their own role. Right. Everybody, the person that is the evangelist that goes out on the street to talk to everybody isn't the same personality type as the person that ushers and does hospitality when the evangelist brings them into the church. You get what I'm saying? Those are two different personalities. 9 times out of 10, the evangelist is outspoken. They're outgoing. They love people. They love talking to people. They love conversations. The person that's like hospitality is like, oh, things need to be clean. They need to be put together. They're in order. They care about how people feel. They try and nurture. They probably have a more nurturing spirit. So like both of those things are needed. And God uses He sanctifies your personality or your whatever bend your personality has, so that you can be effective today in today's society.
Yeah. And I think that's what, like, where Paul was like, hey, I'm not going to knock that person for that thing. Like, I don't want to like cause a stumbling block for these people. Like, I'm going to like approach them about the things that are necessary, but we're not going to make a big deal over circumcision or non-circumcision. We're not going to make a big deal over like, I mean, I'm not going to go there. But anyways, yeah, like stuff like that. And because every single person, like, it's like you said, it's not uniformity. Yeah. Yo, I can't believe this man just bust out my eternal water in my face in the middle of the pod, bro.
Well, number one, we'll take a quick break. Let me tell y'all how producer Matt tried to poison Leighton today. So
talk to me,
right? So like, we're doing our recording session. You know, sometimes we get a little parched, as like, you know, get parched.
What do you mean?
A little drink, and so like Leighton wanted something to drink, and producer Matt like had like hidden Zephyr Hills in the corner.
Bro, I thought it was done. Like Leighton asked for water, and I
and he
swore
drinks
the
it so
Zephyr
often he thought he
Hills.
finished it, which is wild to me.
crazy.
No, there be people in here grabbing water bottles.
Finish the
bro.
whole case by
I do
himself.
not believe people would walk in here and grab Zephyr Hills.
So I left my house in a rush, like in a frantic rush, and I was like, dang, I couldn't find my water bottle, and my wife drinks Eternal, and she's very much so like, don't touch my Eternal bottles. But I'm like, bruh, I'm gonna rush, bruh, and this is a good amount of water, and this gonna last me all day.
So you stole from your wife?
So I stole from my wife,
okay,
because the two have become one flesh. So I'm stole from myself, and I drove here with the Eternal bottle, and Leighton was thirsty, and I didn't think there was any Zephyr Hills left, so I was like, you know what? Let me be a good homeboy. Go ahead, bro. You get the whole Eternal. And lo and behold, there's a good 4 or 5 extra bottles in the case, and Leighton continues to drink that Eternal and won't drink the Zephyr.
Proof that the Lord loves you. The Lord calls a spirit of forgetfulness to fall on him.
Forget.
That's the word.
Right? Like
he's a long-time God,
right?
Yes, he is.
Because you could have given, and you could have died. You could have died today. Today could have been your last day.
I could have drowned drinking that.
Right
now,
you could have
today.
died today, but God gave you something eternal.
Hey,
Come on.
The everlasting water.
Yo, shall never
Living
thirst
water.
again.
The cleansing stream.
I see.
Sometimes you gotta watch out for your friends. They try to poison you.
I know, bro. It be your own friends.
Judas.
Also, Zephyr Hills people, if y'all ever catch wind of this, you can still sponsor us.
You can still sponsor us.
I will change my tune real quick over some money.
Watch this. Watch this. Yum. Delicious. Zephyr Hills gold. Yeah.
What was that?
It's the Zephyr, bro. I don't know.
That's here.
What it tastes like over there?
It tastes like 30 minutes from my house.
Tastes like
That
30
boy
minutes
turned
from
into-
my house.
What was that? Russian?
Must be. I don't know.
German?
my
It was
God.
definitely racist.
It was.
So that's what it was.
Oh my
that was actually pretty good.
Y'all.
Yeah.
Zephyr Hills.
Wild.
That's crazy.
What is
You
that?
be going through stuff.
I do.
That's okay.
Pray for me.
Why
on.
you like touching people? God. I'm sorry, audience. Sometimes people like to tempt you, and they remind you that you need more Jesus. Because
That's what I'm here for. To remind people they still need Jesus.
Oh, he touched me.
I don't know. Thank you.
Don't sing that song. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I don't like it. Anyway, yeah.
Oh,
So I think one aspect goes back to some what you guys were saying about the way we dress and all these sorts of things, and like what I think is individual and personal convictions. What I just think is something. Again, we have I think in an attempt to be very easy. We just made blanket rules and statements in an attempt to be what I'm going to call like I think it's just like tend to be very, very safe.
Yeah.
And so like, cause I think one of the things I love about like Paul's like, hey, like if you know eating meat offered to idols is going to like cause your brother to stumble, to offend your brother, like, okay, we're not going to do that. But Paul said, if you know. Paul never said, if a hypothetical person existed somewhere who you do not know, that would be offended if your shoes were green. Like, it just well, we create these like hypothetical things in our minds. And with that in mind, I think one thing that is, to me, concerning to see Christians navigate in this modern age is social media. Like,
why is that? Talk about it.
I think it's concerning.
Should I get my soapbox?
No, leave it.
No, yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
You don't need it. He got the pulpit.
The what?
The pulp.
Pulpit.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it again. The pulpit.
Every time you said it differently, I'm very confused. You said 3 different words. You're like him and his tikka masala. But anyway.
Whoa. Call back.
Yeah, and so like,
Why would you do
Bombastic side eye. Criminal side eye.
The Lord is long suffering.
Hey, there you go.
Amen.
He's
Amen.
working on me.
I think like you look at a lot of Christians' engagement on social media,
Like,
like
be mad in real life.
This nigga's anger is bubbling.
bubbling in his soul.
It's bubbling.
It's about to be Nike. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Take your glasses off, bro.
I only brought 1 pair. I
it
have
off,
to go home tonight. Abuse. I think like Christians, number one thing that's like look, I'm like looking at the book of Matthew and it's like, hey, like don't say anything unkind about your brother or sister. Well, like whoever says like to their brother or sister, you fool, or like calling them you idiot is where they like tossing the hellfire, like all sorts of stuff. In Matthew, I think it's 5. I think it's like around that Sermon on the Mount area there, and it's like I see a lot of that on social media.
Facts.
It's not, and it's like, no, there are times when like people are doing something that is insane.
I agree.
Like you
Bring back
shouldn't have done that.
Bring back shame.
He said, you want that on the shirt? Bring
I
back
agree.
shame.
But we said it earlier.
We should do that.
The bring
Can
back
we put
shame
that on a
shirt.
shirt? Bring back shame.
Or let it say shame on you.
I like shame on you. It's just no context.
Bring
Just
back
shame on you. You gonna read that and whatever you should have been shamed for is gonna pop up.
Hey, like that's true. Shame
Whatever
on
that is, stop
Shame
it. Stop it. Whatever that is.
So I think like it's the vitriol we throw towards each other, or it's just like it's like the duality present on some of our like feeds. It's like I follow Jesus, and I also clearly do this sinful activity. And it's like, oh, I love the beautiful Romans verse in your bio. Also, all of the sin in the pictures under it. Okay. And so stuff like that. Even like to some of your points about like the way people dress and like how some people like present modesty. Beautiful to see on social media. And again, like some people hear modesty and they think about telling women what to wear. I mean, like, no, like why your social media is full of you flexing how much money you make. Is that modest? Like, all of these realities about like how do we navigate that? Number one, I think it has component onto like a lot of personal, but I think there's some personal stuff. I think there are some like clear present convictions, clear present things that we can say like, and I think that's a key piece that will continue to be a prevailing piece in a more digital world. How we interact with each other and with technology as Christians in a modern age. And honestly, let's be prepared. No one prepared us for technology. We weren't ready for this. But
It's a heart posture, right? If you go on my page and you're gonna see all of the things that are important to me. You're gonna see all of the things that I want you to see, or that I think everybody puts their highlight reel on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, Twitter, whatever. You put your best you forward So whatever you think your best you looks like, that's what you're going to present. So whether it's if I think that, hey, all of me flexing $100 bills down my arm, if that makes me the most appealing, then that's what I'm gonna present. So
like a lick.
But looking like a easy lick, boy. Easy.
Boy, lick.
Y'all lucky I'm trying to be holy. But
I'm
anyway,
telling you, it ain't.
Sometimes the hood pops out.
I'm gonna shut up.
Hey, come on.
I'm gonna shut up.
Anyway,
I'm gonna shut up.
But is that a pride thing, right? Do I have a pride issue? Do I want you to think, hey, I actually am better than you, and I want you to know that. No matter that I'm flexing my mother's rent money on social media.
My mom
no matter, it doesn't matter that like, hey, I actually had to like sell fentanyl to young children to get this money, right? Or whatever it may be, whatever means that, or that I scammed an old lady out of her pension to get this money. Like should I keep going? Or I kicked in doors to get this money, right? So like whatever I had. You said what?
He was waiting for you to come down his road.
Got me.
He was waiting for you to come down his road.
I got you. Yeah, I kicked in doors to get this money, whatever it may be. Like whatever. I want you to see that I got money, which is also like why I think
y'all be looking like licks. Stop it.
I swear.
Stop it.
Swear.
Get some help.
Get some
You
help.
finna get robbed.
But
I really do think that like, hey, where your heart is, where your treasure is, that where your heart will be also.
That's what the Bible says.
So, if your treasure is in money, that's what you'll present. If that's where your heart is, if your treasure is in Jesus, that's what you'll present. Right. And I'm not saying you got to put like everything got to be scriptures down your social media. No. But if I don't know that, like, hey, you're married, like, for example, if I told you I was married and you didn't see anything of my wife or my family on my social media, you would question whether I was really married, or you would question my devotion and love for my wife. If I can't look at you, or if your behavior doesn't exemplify things of the Christian nature, then it would be safe for someone to question, hey, do you really believe the thing that you say you believe? Because how you living is living contrary to what you claim to believe.
Basically, you know the tree by its fruit, brother.
Glory.
I had to make sure my wife was on my Instagram. I was like, I don't know what's on my Instagram.
My dog had to double check real quick.
I thought you had like a crazy thought. Like
I thought he was going to like Google something.
He
said I had to. Do I love my wife? Wait,
No, because it legit is just Bible verses.
No, yeah, he has hella verses.
your wife on there a couple times.
Yeah,
maybe once or twice.
Yeah,
but you don't post.
Yeah, if you
your posts are connected to her posts.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's
she
how you
posts for y'all.
She posts
for y'all.
Yes. y'all got a joint Instagram account.
The two shall become one account
because she's human and I'm not.
You're a robot.
Remember when I used to run your account?
You did
the Instagram.
Yeah.
When I first got back on Instagram, I was like, I'm not doing this.
I was like, I got you, fam. I got you. Don't worry about it.
That's funny.
Good guy.
But yeah, man.
And so like I think I have one final question about like navigating like, so there's a lot of pressure on people who are professing Christians these days. There's a lot of pressure to bow out. There's a lot of pressure to compromise. There's a lot of pressure, and there's also a lot of doubts, right? Like we're trying to identify with a Jesus that other people have lied and said they identify with.
Facts.
Right? Like I'm not going to say that other people identified with because they clearly didn't, but that like slave owners lied and said they knew. That politicians on both sides lied and said they were doing things in favor of. That pastors and preachers lied and said that they knew.
I mean, biblically, Pharisees and Sadducees.
Yeah, right. And so like, how do we like encourage? I guess I'm thinking about like, how do we encourage one another? One, I think finding the biblical community is like the answer that came to me the most quickly.
Yeah.
Like, how do we encourage each other? That's one of the things. Like, don't forsake the assembling of yourselves together, right? Like gather together with those who believe. Like the beauty, and I think one of the most beautiful parts about modern faith is the camaraderie we do see growing among Christians. Like little Miss Susie starts her like her Bible highlighter Instagram page, and there's people in the comments, girl, I love this, keep going, like keep reading, like highlight, like what highlighters do you use? And it's like, I love to see that camaraderie, because I think that's what it's gonna take to, like, when things are being shot our way, is people who are together. But are there any other things you guys can think of, like, in a world that might be hostile to faith, or if you're just a person who's like, I don't really know how I feel about this, like, how do we navigate hostilities, doubts, and those sorts of things in our modern age?
Yeah. I mean, similar to what I was saying earlier, I feel like don't run from those doubts. Kind of just own up to it. I want to say, not like internalize it itself, but like kind of speak out about it. Like find, like, in that community, find somebody that you can honestly, like, be open about it, and like get to a common ground to where you can either, because I mean, regardless of if you find it like an answer to your situation or not, you're gonna feel a lot better with just that. So it's kind of like a weight lifted off. So it's not gonna be as troublesome or like feel like as much of a burden to go through.
Yeah, I think I navigated through because before I used to, like, if I tried to share the gospel, like when I was younger, like I felt like I needed to go to scripture to share it. And I'd use scripture as like a foundational base, where with somebody that doesn't believe in the Bible, is like it doesn't work. Experientially, like now I'm like, oh, God has brought me through these things, and this is why. Like I've heard God say these things to me, and after doing that, these are the things. Like after obedience, it gave me like a testimony for me to be like, oh, like these are the reasons why I believe, because this, and this happened to me. And I have people that have also seen it like happen in this way, where it could have just only been God. And we can start there, and at least you have a base understanding also, along with like the life that I live or whatever the case may be. A base understanding, and then I can like be like, okay, so this is what like the word says, or this is like where that stuff goes. And it kind of gives me like a firm like rock to stand on, especially even within myself. Like when I even start to doubt, right? Like there's still like this base that keeps me tied to like, to God, because it's like, hey, for you to, and I've probably said this on other episodes, but for me to like go back and like completely undo the good work that he's done, I would really have to like justify, rectify like these specific things that he has done for me and through my life, and make that make sense. Be like, bro, you want to believe that I don't exist? Like, how do you explain this thing that happened to you? Not something that you've read, not something that you've heard somebody else say, but how do you explain this, and this that specifically happened to you? And when you like obeyed, like these things happen because of that obedience. Like there's a lot to undo. So yeah, man, like I think navigating that, like that doubt, or if I'm having a conversation with the person, the first thing that I kind of like bring out of my bag, especially if it's somebody that doesn't know and we're engaging and they really want to like understand or like get a grasp of why I believe what I believe. It starts with like the blood of the lamb, word of your testimony. For me, it's like, oh, like you're gonna hear what I've gone through, like with God. Like those two things like are together.
Perfect. I think like as we like wrap up and get up out of here, like navigating faith in a modern age is going to require us to be Christians who like are tethered literally just to Jesus and his word.
Yeah.
I think it's like there is no more being able to just skate by being with the in crowd. Like a lot of our churches are so large these days, you're going to get left anyway. Like that's just the reality of it. Like there is no more like skating by and getting dragged along, but also like the people who are dragging you, like these kids, again, growing up, like when we grew up, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, some people grew up before that, like everybody's grandmama went to church and prayed. Nowadays, these grandmamas on the streets. Like these kids are growing up without grandmamas who go to church and pray, right? Like, and so like no one's gonna be able to skate by on grandmama's invitations to church anymore.
Grandmamas have OnlyFans now.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay. You said it. Anyway.
I don't mean I still can't be. You ever know them niggas that be like, if I seen it, you gotta see it too? Yeah.
I have some friends like that. Yeah. You minding my little business. But oh my God. Yeah, so like, yeah, like, we have like navigate your faith, like navigate in the community, get people who you can like be real with.
Yeah.
And that like ends up being what we end a lot of these episodes, and I think it's just because it's vital, right? Like,
It's real as hell.
right? Like, it's just like it's a brass tacks is what it boils down to. Like, we're not just here talking about this stuff. We're in group chats talking about it. Like, we're texting each other, like, hey, like, how did this go? Well, should I have done that? And like, it's living life with people, and then also it's like being able to go back to the word. Like, sometimes you don't need somebody to tell you something.
Facts.
Sometimes you just know what God has said in His Word, and that speaks louder than the voices of the people around you.
Yeah.
So like navigating that is essential in like this modern age.
Yeah.
But any closing comments, thoughts, jokes, things you don't like about people here before we wrap up this week? 5, 4, 3.
I thought it was funny that you said people here. Like, call one of these niggas up.
Why wouldn't I? Why?
I love you guys, man.
Love you too, boss.
Thank you, Tariq.
Cannot say that. We do not.
Homophobo.
We do not endorse this man's foolishness. If you would like to be the third host on the podcast,
You gotta beat my ass.
you gotta be the third host on. You don't have to really say much, and you get to be whoever. You can change your name as much as you want. You just gotta come sit on this couch.
Yeah, you know, bar's not high.
Bar's not high.
Until next time, this is Holy and Hope. We love you guys
Love
again.
y'all.
Like, comment, subscribe. Join us on Patreon.
Yes, sir.
And stay tuned for even bigger and better things coming this season. Other than that,
That way I say.
we out.
We out of here.
You're
You know the real nigga coming out of so flow. And the flow wavy got a bolo. Oh no, looking like you running out of stamina. Call yourself an animal, cause you know you ain't man.